Sanbonani family. I hope niyaphila. I hope everything is well. On my side, all is well. Today, we're doing this video. We're going to be dealing with chapter 3 of the basic conditions of employment, which is about the leave. Right? The leave. All right. Application of this chapter. This chapter does not apply to an employee who works less than 24 hours a month for an employer. Number 2, unless an agreement provides otherwise, this chapter does not apply to leave granted to an employee in excess of the employee's entitlement under this chapter. Okay, then let's deal with annual leave. Number 1, in this chapter, annual leave cycle means the period of 12 months employment with the same employer immediately following an employee's commencement of employment or the completion of that employee's prior leave cycle. Number 2, an employer must grant an employee at least 21 consecutive days annual leave on full remuneration in respect of each annual leave cycle, right? Or by agreement, 1 day of annual leave on full remuneration for every 17 days on which the employee worked or was entitled to be paid. C, by agreement, 1 hour of annual leave on full remuneration for every 17 hours which the employee worked or was entitled to be paid. Number 3, an employee is entitled to take leave accumulated in annual leave cycle in terms of subsection 2 on consecutive days. Number 4, an employer must grant annual leave not later than 6 months after the end of the annual leave cycle. Number 5, an employer may not require or permit an employee to take annual leave during any other period of leave to which the employee is entitled in terms of this chapter or any period of notice of termination of employment. Despite subsection 5, an employer must permit an employee at the employee's written request to take leave during a period of unpaid leave. Number 7, an employer may reduce an employee's entitlement to annual leave by the number of days of occasional leave on full remuneration granted to the employee at the employee's request in that leave cycle. An employer must grant an employee an additional day of paid leave if a public holiday falls on a day during an employee's annual leave on which the employee would ordinarily have worked. Number 9, an employer may not require or permit an employee to work for the employer during any period of annual leave. Number 10, annual leave must be taken in accordance with an agreement between the employer and the employee. Or B, if there is no agreement in terms of paragraph A at the time determined by the employer in accordance with this section. Number 11, an employer may not pay an employee instead of granting paid leave in terms of this section, except A, on a termination of employment, and B, in accordance with section 40, subsection B and C. Pay of annual leave. Number 1, an employer must pay an employee leave pay at least equivalent to the remuneration that the employee would have received for working for a period equal to the period of annual leave calculated at the employee's rate of remuneration immediately before the beginning of the period of annual leave. And B, in accordance with section 35. Number 2, an employer must pay an employee leave pay before the beginning of the period of leave or by agreement on the employee's usual pay day. Then let's go and deal with sick leave. Number 1, in this chapter, sick leave means the period of 36 months of employment with the same employer immediately following an employee's commencement of employment or the completion of that employee's prior sick leave cycle. Number 2, during every sick leave cycle, an employee is entitled to an amount of paid sick leave equal to the number of days the employee would normally work during a period of 6 weeks. Despite subsection 2, during the first 6 months of employment, an employee is entitled to 1 day's paid sick leave for every 26 days worked. Number 4, during an employee's first sick leave cycle, an employer may reduce the employee's entitlement to sick leave in terms of subsection 2 by the number of days sick leave taken in terms of subsection 3. Number 5, subject to section 23, an employer must pay an employee for a day's sick leave A, the wage the employee would ordinarily have received for work on that day, and B, on the employee's usual pay day. Number 6, an agreement may reduce the pay to which an employee is entitled in respect of any day's absence in terms of this section if A, the number of days paid sick leave is increased at least commensurately with any reduction in daily amount of sick pay, and B, the employee's entitlement to pay for any day sick leave is at least 75% of the wage to the employee for the ordinary hours the employee would have worked on that day. And for sick leave over the sick leave cycle is at least equivalent to the employee's entitlement in terms of subsection 2. I think for now we'll leave it at that. Then in the next video then we'll move to proof of incapacity, etc. etc. Again, thank you for watching. Please share the video with others, share on different platforms. Please subscribe, please like, please invite others to join in on this platform. Let us grow this platform together. If there's any advice you want pertaining to these issues, you can contact me on 084-436-1494 or drop me an email on skhosanatebuho9@gmail.com. Thank you very much.